Hey guys, just popping back on. If anyone had any extra questions to ask, I just wanted to say thank you so much for joining me on the lives, for watching my YouTube channel, for getting the recipe books and supporting me. I truly greatly appreciate you, and I love connecting with you and helping you. Send me a direct message if you have a question or whatever, or post it here and I'll answer. But I just love you guys so much, and I have great passion in helping as much as I can and inspiring you guys to make great choices. Whether you're all raw, high raw, vegan, or it doesn't matter. It's about a love for raw food. It's about adding more raw food to your lifestyle. So yeah, if you guys had any more questions, feel free to post them down there and I can share this live again. But yeah, I had a great time with the last one, so I wanted to continue on here. And I also wanted to mention too that if you guys are interested in the Course Creator Academy that Ted Carr and I have, you can find a link to that. It's called Course Creator Academy, and the link is in my bio, and it's all about teaching vegans and whoever who is into the plant-based lifestyle to build an online business, grow your Instagram, create courses, ebooks, and all that cool stuff. So if you're interested, there's a link in the bio for Course Creator Academy, and we have the 5-day Instagram challenge that's starting on July 20th. Every night at 4 p.m. we're going to go live with you guys, and we're going to grow our Instagrams together. And I'm going to teach you some quick tips and techniques on how to do that. You have to sign up at 500follows.com to register for that, so we know who's involved and we can add you to the Facebook group, and we can all have a great time growing our Instagrams. So that said, we've got questions. Thank you for joining. How much wine per day is safe for the liver? That's a great question. I don't know the answer to that. I used to drink like half a bottle a day. When I was with my ex, we drank a lot of wine, and I drank a lot of wine. But when I went raw, I became sober. So I don't do wine. I think grape juice is the best alternative to that. But if you're going to do wine, maybe stick to just a glass. I wouldn't do too much because according to Dr. Greger in his book, How Not to Die, he talks about alcohol, and alcohol when ingested turns into acetaldehyde, which is a carcinogen. So I would say no alcohol is ideal, but if you're going to do it, keep it to a very small amount. Must there be a calorie deficit to lose weight, even on raw, coming from a vegetarian diet? There's always going to need to be some kind of calorie deficit to lose weight. The problem is that when we think of a deficit, we think we need to restrict our calories. We need to eat the proper calories. We don't need to eat less. We need to eat correctly. We need to stop eating the foods that we have to restrict and start eating the foods that we don't have to restrict. So I lost weight eating 2,100 to 2,300 calories, and I grew up and I worked in the natural health industry where calorie restriction was the way to lose weight. And yes, you can lose weight when you calorie restrict, but it's not healthy because you're not getting enough nutrients, you're not getting enough protein or fiber or anything like that. You are getting some, but it's not enough to stay healthy. So yeah, you're losing weight, but you're going to eventually have deficit problem later if you're under eating. So the way to get a proper calorie deficit is to increase exercise. So if you're eating, say here, you're eating 2,000 calories a day, and here's your exercise, you're exercising, or your body needs the exact same amount that you're eating, you're going to maintain your weight. If you restrict your calories, then your daily burning is going to be above. And this is the traditional calorie deficit, by eating less. But instead of eating less, how about we exercise more? And then we eat the proper foods, because if you're not eating the correct foods, then it's going to be a lot more difficult to lose the weight, even if you add exercise. So make sure that you're eating the proper foods, high raw or all raw, even if you're doing plant-based, to eat lower fat. And I don't mean no fat, I mean lower fat. Stick to around the 10% total calories. So you can eat over 2,000 calories, no problem. Just increase your exercise to get into that deficit. Because if you're eating way more than you're burning, yeah, of course you're probably going to gain weight, or you're going to have a problem losing it. So eating like I said in the last video, if you're eating 4,500 calories and you're only 5'1" and you have a desk job and you never exercise, then yeah, you're eating way too much for your body. You're probably going to gain weight. But if you eat the appropriate amount for your body, like around 2,000-ish, more if you need to, if you feel hungry, eat more. That's just a sign that your body is not eating enough. So just eat more fruit, get bigger salads in, and that should help as well. Thank you for all the invaluable information you share. You're very welcome. It's my pleasure to share. I just wanted to hop back on and say thank you again for all these questions and your incredible inspirations. I've been preparing and photographing so much food because of you today. That's awesome. It's so much fun. I love playing with my food and I love creating beauty with it for you guys too. So do you have some fat in every meal or save it for one meal like dinner? I normally, this is not always, but I normally do chia seeds in my lunch. So a tablespoon of chia seeds with lunch, and I'll do my fats with dinner. So half an avocado, maybe a little creamy dressing, but I try to keep it on the lower end. I don't like douse my salad with it. I'll probably use like maybe a quarter cup of a raw higher fat dressing or half an avocado. Sometimes I'll do fat with lunch if I'm doing a later lunch. Then I'll do a little fat with that, but then I do no fat for dinner or an ice cream for dinner or something. But typically it's chia seeds with lunch and then avocado or other nut stuff at dinner time. What are tests we need to perform in order to check for vitamin deficiency in a plant-based diet? That would be something you'd want to ask your healthcare practitioner to do a blood test and see what you might be deficient in. That's my suggestion there. The woman does know what she's talking about. Walked a million in those shoes. Facts here. Well done, woman. Thank you. What are your thoughts on intermittent fasting? I just posted on my last video, we only intermittent fast when we sleep. We don't practice intermittent fasting. I think that it's just a glorified term to skip breakfast, and I don't think that that's healthy in my opinion. I like eating breakfast. I like to fill up and fuel up for my day. I don't like extending or forcing myself to eat within a window because it's restrictive. It's not healthy. I don't think that that's ideal. Plus it messes up a lot of women's metabolisms, which is scary. I've seen it happen countless times where women will fall into an eating disordered mindset because of intermittent fasting, forcing themselves into that window. And when you force yourselves into a window, then in the morning, you don't feel hungry because your body is expecting only the food in that window. So you start to lose your appetite in the morning, but when you start eating breakfast again, you're training your body and your body's like, oh, I get food in the morning, yay. I eat normally about an hour and a half or so after waking. That's when I get my smoothie in, give or take. I spend the first hour either replying to direct messages with you guys or if we're on 5 a.m. club, then we're doing personal development stuff for that first hour. And then maybe a light workout if I do a workout, and then it's breakfast. So and in the morning before breakfast, I'll do my liter of lemon water as well. So that's what happens in the morning. I don't extend my eating until later. If I do skip breakfast, which has happened because of work or something happens and I'm like, I gotta do whatever. If I skip breakfast, then I feel I'm really irritable throughout the day because I didn't fuel up in the morning. And it's really important that I eat breakfast in the morning. Some fruit, like an 800 calorie smoothie or like 5 or 6 mangoes or something. But yeah, we don't do intermittent fasting and I probably never will. So I'd use flax, chia, hemp regularly. Chia, you use it almost every day. Chia every day. Flax, I rarely ever use. I don't really like the flavor of it. But sometimes it'll go in raw crackers or a raw burger maybe. I'll add like a tablespoon or so, but I don't really like the flavor, so that's why I don't eat a lot of it. But chia seeds I do. And hemp seeds are probably around once or twice a week. I'll add them to a dressing, but chia every day. What's so special about chia seeds? Interested? They're very high in omega-3, which is the essential fat necessary to create EPA and DHA, which are necessary for brain health, heart health, and inflammation health. Anti-inflammatory. So we want to eat high omega-3 because we eat way too many omega-6s. Omega-6 is like almost in everything, oils and avocados and everything else. But we eat way too many omega-6s, so we have a hard time converting omega-3 into EPA and DHA. So if you limit your omega-6s and increase your omega-3s, then you're more at a balance. The ideal balance between 6 and 3 is 4-to-1 or 1-to-1, in between that range. And chia seeds are opposite. They're like, I think they're 4-to-1, the opposite. But hemp is like 3-to-1 or 3-to-1. I'm not sure, but it's in that range. So hemp, flax, and chia are all really good at giving you that extra omega-3, and then just limit your oil or get rid of oil. What are your thoughts on food combining rules? That's a good one, as in acidic fruits mixed with sweet fruits. I don't follow any food combining rules except for fats with sweet fruits. So like fats in a smoothie or avocados with a mango salad. I try to avoid that. It's not always possible. Like if I'm having a mango salsa with avocado, it happens, but I don't notice any weird things with my body. I feel completely fine. Mango and avocado is totally fine with me. I believe that the food combining rules apply to you if they apply to you. I don't think that it's necessary to follow like a huge chart full of all of this stuff. If you eat something and it irritates you or you feel weird, then don't eat it together. It's pretty simple. If you find that you're getting gas if you eat cashews with cucumbers, don't eat those together anymore. Do the cashews with kale instead or something. But you'll find your own rules, and I don't follow any of those rules except for no fats with the sweet fruit, because sometimes I do notice that can cause issues, or high fat. I mean, that's not really a food combining rule, but I notice that I have issues if I eat higher fat. I will get gassy. So what are your thoughts on coffee? I don't drink it. I think it's considered a drug. But I know there are people that still drink it. There are antioxidants in coffee beans. And there's, other people who say that coffee is okay. So most people say it's bad. But if you're just using like a little coffee flavoring, or if you're putting like a couple beans in your nice cream, like we have actually a couple recipes that have coffee beans in the recipes, like a tablespoon of coffee beans, just for flavor, that's probably completely fine. But I don't use coffee. I don't drink coffee. It's not part of my life because it gives me heart palpitations, heart flutters. I get anxiety. I can't breathe. So I just cut it out of my diet because I'm like, no, not part of my diet. Is it okay to make fruit and green salads and smoothies? Yes. Fruits and greens tend to combine perfectly fine for me and for many other people. I put a lot of berries in my salads and stuff. So yeah. Your thoughts on Freelee? Datorade that contains more than 1,500 calories in one meal. Want to lose weight, so scared to eat that much. I never did the datorade thing. I do 800 calories first thing in the morning. You could do 1,500 calories of datorade if you want to. It's the fat and the excessive calories that are going to make you gain weight. So if you need to eat that 1,500 calories and then the other, say 800 calories comes from the greens and other things, that's great. But I like to eat more of a variety. I feel like 1,500 calories from just dates isn't as much variety. I prefer variety because people who eat 30 or more different plant foods in a week have the strongest, most diverse gut flora. And the gut flora is probably the most important aspect to health. We don't even know much about it yet, so it's still like in its infancy of research, but gut flora is so important. 70% of our immune system is in our gut. 90% of the serotonin, your happy hormone, is produced in your gut by those bacteria interacting with your digestive tract. So we need to be eating properly. We need to feed them with raw plant fiber. Gotta feed them raw plant fiber so they thrive. If you're not feeding them raw plant fiber, then they're going to die off and you're going to grow the cleanup crew, which they aren't as beneficial as the good bacteria. We want to feed the good bacteria with raw plant fiber. So eating a lot of fiber is going to help with that. But yeah, I prefer variety. I've never tried the datorade, but I do date water sometimes. I'll soak dates. I learned this from Ted. If you soak dates for like a couple days in some water in the fridge, the date water tastes like maple syrup. So it's really cool to add in replace of maple syrup. if you don't want to do the maple syrup. I was suffering from constipation. I started my raw vegan diet and I'm so happy. Oh, that's wonderful to hear. I love hearing that when people feel good on this. That's great. Is vegan dark chocolate beneficial in any way for us because of the cacao? I do use cacao. I put it in ice cream and smoothies sometimes. I don't feel any negative things with cacao, but raw chocolate, I will get heart flutters from. So I don't know what the deal is with that. I'm okay with the raw cacao, but I'm not okay with raw chocolate. So I'm not sure what that's all about. But there's antioxidants in every plant food. So we don't need to single out one single plant food and be like, I need to include this into my diet because of this. If you're eating a lot of blueberries and berries and mangoes and kale and greens and all of that stuff, you're getting a lot of antioxidants anyways in your diet. So it's not necessary to focus on one thing. But if you want to have vegan dark chocolate, go for it. How about raw nuts and seeds? I do nuts and seeds, yes. I keep them to 10% of my total calories. A tablespoon of seeds in my lunch dressing, typically chia seeds, and then I'll have a nut-based dressing or tahini-based dressing or half an avocado with dinner. So I think they're fine, just don't overdo it and don't eat them as a snack. Snacks should be fruit. Nuts and seeds belong with your salads. Can you recommend 3 books to give scientific context to a lot of these methods and philosophies I've been using or you've been using? I kind of combine everything that I've learned and I apply what works, and that's how I've kind of come across what works for me best. I like How Not to Die by Michael Greger. I like Proteinaholic by Garth Davis. 80-10-10 Diet by Doug Graham. What else have I read? Those are probably the main 3. But again, I take pieces from each of them and I apply it to my life how I want to eat and how it works for me. Gabriel Cousens has a really good book. Doug Evans has a good book on sprouting, and I'm a huge fan of sprouting. I think sprouts are essential for a healthy, long-term raw vegan diet. Yeah, anything that you resonate with, you could take, but those are just some examples. Also, I have a list of all my favorite books in my bio, in my Instagram bio. I have a link to Lissa's list. It's my favorite books, my supplements, my skincare, my favorite kitchen tools, affiliate links, all that kind of stuff is in Lissa's list. It's a link in my bio. So if you're interested in any of that, you can go check it out. Yeah, the difference between the chocolate and powder is the extra cacao butter, fat, and added sugar. And I think the extra fat might stimulate, like you absorb it differently or something like that. It just doesn't work for me. I just read Return Brain of Eden. Do you prefer not to steam, and why? I don't steam anything. I prefer to eat raw. If I do want to soften, like cauliflower or marinate mushrooms, I'll do that in a dehydrator for about 45 minutes-ish, maybe an hour, just to dehydrate them a little bit. That's how I do it. I don't steam anything, and I feel like if I cooked food, I would only want to eat the cooked food, and that could just all be in my mind, but I just don't want to. I'm not interested in steamed broccoli or steamed chard or anything like that. I'd rather eat a salad, and that's just what I prefer. If I was given an option between broccoli and a salad, or like steamed broccoli and a salad, I would always choose a salad just because I feel so good when I eat the salad. And the steamed broccoli doesn't really entice me. But that's just me. Again, if you like steamed broccoli, it's not the end of the world. As long as there's no oil on it, really. And like lots of salt. Great, can't wait to see the list. Yes, awesome. Are there any desserts like cakes that you can make and stay low fat? Raw. Been making lots of cakes, but they're nut-based. Yeah, love desserts and was wondering. We like to do banana cinnamon rolls, which is just bananas and dates, raisins, cinnamon, and you can make those in the dehydrator. We're gonna have a recipe for them in the nice cream book. Nice cream is our dessert. We like a lot of nice cream, banana-based, fruit-based. Sometimes we'll add other things like herbs or spices, or randomly for this recipe book, we've added nuts to some of them for those who want to have nuts in. I'll make them creamier, different flavor, but we don't normally add nuts to ours. We did it for the book purposes. We'll have a section, we're gonna have 2 sections in the book, like a fat-free section and a included nuts section. So that'll be in the book. But yeah, for desserts, it's nice cream. It's fruit, really. Fruit with like a berry drizzle. You can do berries with lemon juice and vanilla and dates, and just pour that over your fruit bowl. That's a pretty awesome dessert. It doesn't have to be a cheesecake. It doesn't have to be the traditional stuff. You can still enjoy delicious desserts from fruit that aren't traditional stuff. We gotta start making the non-traditional stuff become the new traditional things, and get used to saying goodbye to the old and embracing the new. Embrace the change. One more question. Is it a good idea to limit calories to 1600 to lose weight? Again, I am not pro restriction in any form. I don't think it's necessary. I don't think it's beneficial. I think over the long term, yes, you might lose weight, but you're restricting your nutrition. So I believe that calorie restriction equals nutrient restriction, and I don't think that's a great idea. Just work on keeping your fats low, eating a lot of high raw, delicious fruits and salads, and increase your exercise. Increase your exercise to get into the calorie deficit. I lost 70 pounds eating between 2,100 and 2,300 calories a day. I'm 5'5", I did very little exercise, and I still lost 70 pounds. It's not the calories necessarily. The calories do play a role, but it's the kinds of foods that you're eating. If you're eating a lot of high fat, processed animal products, a lot of cooked food and all that, yeah, you're probably going to gain weight if you eat 2,000 calories. But if you're eating high raw, low fat, you can eat 2,000 calories and lose weight. So it really depends on what you're eating. What you're eating will determine if you're going to have to force yourself to restrict, or if you can eat abundantly. So look at what you're eating before you decide on if you want to calorie restrict, because I don't think it's beneficial to calorie restrict. Overnight oats, okay. If you want, again, it's a vegan food. I don't do oats. I have eaten oats, the soaked oats or the raw oats or whatever, a couple times in my life, like on a apple strudel thing that was a raw apple strudel from a restaurant. And we put them in the oatmeal cookie nice cream recipe. But that's not something that we eat every day. That's just, again, a recipe in the book for people who want that flavor. We don't personally do oats, but again, they're vegan. If you want to do them, that's totally fine. Is the spices used to prepare cooked vegan foods dangerous? How so? I use a lot of spices. I'm pretty spice obsessed. I've got lots in my cupboard, and I enjoy so many different flavors. We have like probably at least 80 different spices in our spice rack. We collect spices. So I don't think they're dangerous. The only one that I would say would probably be potentially dangerous would be nutmeg. And you really shouldn't go over a teaspoon of that, but even then it's going to be really bitter and ugh. So it's hard to eat a teaspoon of nutmeg. It just kind of makes you psychedelic, psychotic. It's not recommended, so don't do that. Eat until you're satisfied, just keep the fat out. Yes, the problem with eating until you're satisfied is that I would say the vast majority of people who eat until they're satisfied are still not eating enough. I've had lots of people come to me and say, I don't want to count calories, I just want to intuitively eat, but I'm having this issue and I'm having this issue and I don't know why I'm gaining weight and I don't know why I can't lose weight, blah, 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 or I don't know why I'm losing weight and I need to gain weight, and they don't know why they're not feeling in balance. And when we go through their food that they're eating, they're always under eating. So the intuitively eating part, I think we can intuitively eat, but we have to learn how much we need first. And then we can intuitively eat because we know what we need. We know how much we need to feel good, to lose weight or to maintain weight or to gain weight. We know what we need, but we need to go through that initial learning period where we learn what our body needs. Because if you're coming from a standard diet or even like a cooked junk food vegan or even cooked vegan, if you're going over to raw, you're getting rid of a lot of those calorie dense foods and you're moving over to high water, high fiber foods, which is going to feel very different. So you're going to fill up a lot on these foods, but you're not necessarily getting enough calories to sustain long-term health on a raw diet. That's why a lot of people fall off, because they're just not eating enough. So yes, you can intuitively eat, but if you're only eating to satiation and then you're not eating until dinner, then you're probably under eating, which is going to cause problems down the road. So we need to learn how much to eat and then work around that. Like, yes, if you eat a big salad and you're stuffed, then stop eating. But make sure that you come back to that salad maybe a half hour later, 45 minutes later, and finish it, because you still need to get the rest of those calories in if you're doing raw food. So that's my 2 cents on that one. What ebook would you recommend for savory raw vegan lunch dinner meals? All of them. I'm a very savory girl. I do 2 salads a day. Meal plan 1, 2, and 3 all have 2 salads a day. The only fruit that you're eating is breakfast and snacks. So if you like savory, then you'll probably like any of my books, even the dips and dressings books. For the most part, they're all savory. Now, yes, I use dates in all of my dressings, and people think that that makes them sweet dressings, but it doesn't. We need a sweet in a savory dressing to have a perfect balanced palate. And if you don't want to use many dates, you could just cut the date amount in half, but remember that you're going to need to increase the calories of your salad. So when it comes to the choices that you have for the books, all of my books have awesome savory lunches and dinners. The meal plans all have 30 lunches and 30 dinners in each of them. So you've got a lot of options. And again, you guys, right now, for the next couple of weeks before the Nice Cream book is released, so I would say 3 weeks, give or take, we still have a lot to do on it, so I'm not sure how it's going to work. But for those weeks, I'm still having the 40% off all of my ebooks. I have 6 ebooks, a transition guide, meal plan 1, 2, and 3, each with 90 recipes. So that's like almost 300 recipes right there. I got dips and dressings, and I've got the winter meal plan. You can get any of those books, link in my bio under ebooks, or you can go payhip.com/rawfoodromance, use code immunity2020 to get 40% off. That 40% off is only happening for the next couple of weeks. And then I'm going to take it away. We're going to have a different discount for the Nice Cream release. But yeah, so those are the books I would recommend. I really like Meal Plan 3 and Dips and Dressings. Those are my favorite 2 books, and I have a package on my site. It's $47. Again, with the 40% off, you get 40% off, but for those 2 books on my site. Have you been eating more fat since living with Nate? If so, have you noticed a difference in how you feel? Yes, we do tend to eat a little higher fat together. More avocados, more creamy dressings, that kind of thing. I do notice a little bit of weight gain if I go overboard on the fats, which I don't want to be doing. Sticking to the low fat is most ideal. But yeah, there are times that we will eat higher fat and I just feel sluggish. I don't feel my best. Sure, it tastes great, but it's not ideal. So again, it's just solidifying the low fat message. For me, if I eat higher fat, it just isn't the most ideal for me. So really appreciate you. Thank you. Lots of veggies and fruits. I'm doing starch solution and it works. Starch solution is great when you're adding a lot of fresh food to it as well. That's awesome. Your ebooks, by the way, you may remember Vlad and I. Yes, we met you at the Okanagan Fruit Fest last year. Awesome. Hugs, hugs. Love you guys. It's sad that the Woodstock Fruit Festival is canceled this year, which it sucks, but we'll see you guys next year. We're going to be at the Canada Fruit Fest and hopefully the UK Fruit Fest if we can get overseas or whatever. I mean, it really depends on what next year looks like. So we're kind of, everybody's kind of, we're all maneuvering this year, this world as we can. But yeah, hopefully I can see you guys at some fruit fests. Can we see your spice rack? Oh yes, I would love to show you my spice rack. I actually want to do a video on my spices and all the spices that I do use. So that should be coming in the future as well. Yes, nutmeg's taste limits itself. Isn't that interesting how nature just limits itself? Yeah, nutmeg can be intense. Hello, Allie. Oh, love you, girl. What's your advice for the raw vegan beginners so we won't give up? Eat enough, stay focused, prepare, stay consistent, and eat enough, and eat enough, and eat enough, and eat enough, and eat enough. Make sure you eat enough. That's like my number one piece of advice. Make sure you eat enough, stay low fat, plan your meals every night before you go to bed. Think about what you're going to have for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and figure out how you're going to implement that. It's very simple. You make your smoothie or your fruit bowl for breakfast. What are you going to have for snacks that is fruit, like a couple cups of grapes or some apples or whatever? What are you going to have for lunch, and what are you going to have for dinner? And that's really all you need to plan. It takes 20 seconds. And then you can think about how you can implement that. But those are my tips. Make sure you eat enough. Thoughts on organic vegan protein powders? I prefer just using sprouts, lentil sprouts. When you sprout a lentil, its protein count goes up by 20%. So sprouted lentils are way better than cooked lentils. I sprout the lentils for Nate and and we go through 1 to 2, sometimes 3 cups of sprouts each a day. Some days we don't eat them, but most days we do, and we add them to our salads. And if you wanted to add them to like a shake, you could make a green shake with sprouts in it for your protein if you're worried about that, if you feel you need it. But yeah, that's what we do. We believe sprouts are incredibly nutritious. Some nutrients go up by 500%, so it's really cool to add those to your diet. Is a raw diet all room temperature and cold food? How long did it take for your taste buds to adjust? It didn't take long for me to adjust. I really enjoy my food a lot. In the beginning, I hated spinach and a lot of foods, but I respected the food for what it tasted like, and I experimented with a lot of dressing recipes and how to eat bigger salads and eat more. But yeah, my food is room temperature. A lot of the fruit we keep on the counter, and if it comes from the fridge, sometimes we'll warm it up in warm water or whatever, or we use the dehydrator. Sometimes we'll make warm soups in the Vitamix, because if you blend for 2 minutes on high, it warms it up a little bit. Still considered raw, just warm, like sun-warmed temperatures. So yeah, I feel like it didn't take very long for me to adjust to the taste. Allie says, hey love, what if we don't want a salad every day? What's your top meals to have for savory veggie wise? Girl, I have a great video for you. It's the top 10 things to have that aren't a salad. I'll have to link that to you in the direct messages. You guys can check it out on my YouTube channel. It's called 10 things to have that aren't a salad. Just search 10 things to have that aren't a salad, Lissa, and you'll probably be able to find it on YouTube. But I do have ideas. Like there's wraps, there's zucchini noodles, you could make raw pizza, raw burgers, soups and stews, marinaras, curries, pad thai. There's so many things that you can have that aren't just a regular plain old salad. And then play with the dressings that you have. If you don't feel like having a salad, maybe just have a smoothie. If you're feeling more. Canadian funds, the recipe books are all in USD, US dollars. So that's the price for those. Let's see here. Thank you so much for your advice. You're very welcome. Are your books still on sale? Yes, again, as mentioned, payhip.com/rawfoodromance, link in the bio and my description. You just tap on raw ebooks, and the code is immunity2020, and the link is payhip.com/rawfoodromance. The discount is 40% off, so if you guys want any of those recipe books, head on over there and grab them. The sale's only going to be on for the next couple of weeks, so make sure you grab that if you're interested. Practical life question. I soaked dates and left them out because I lost them for maybe 4 days. Are these ruined? Give them a smell if they smell weird or there's like mold or fungus growing on them. How many dates did you soak? I mean, it's totally up to you if you wanted to try them out, but I've left dates soaking in the fridge for 4 days, and you get like this really awesome syrup that you can use as a replacement for maple syrup. I'm not sure if it's out on the counter. You'd really have to look at it and gauge for yourself. What all do you sprout? We love beluga lentils, green lentils, French lentils, any lentils. Any lentils we sprout. Sprout lots and lots and lots of lentils. We sprout broccoli seeds, radish seeds, fenugreek, and what's the other one? Mustard. We do those. So those are stuff that we sprout. I never heard of sprouted lentils. How do I get more information on that? Actually, there is a YouTube video that I have called All About Sprouting. You can search for Lissa All About Sprouting 101. And it's an hour video that I did with a friend who runs Perfect Foods Inc. in New York. She is a seed. She's a sprouting company. She does wheatgrass and sprouts, and we order our seeds from her. So we order our lentils, our broccoli, our radish from her, and we do buy our beluga lentils bulk. And all you really do to really kind of do a quick overview of sprouting, all you do is soak in full water. Soak about a quarter cup of lentils overnight. So it's like 10 hours or whatever. And then the next 3 days, you want to rinse and drain the water. You don't want to re-soak them. Just drain off the water and let it sit for 3 days, and then you've got sprouts. And just rinse them like 2 or 3 times a day to keep the seeds hydrated, and also to get rid of any bacteria that might start growing. Just rinse them really, really well, drain them, and then let them sit on your counter for 3 days, and you've got sprouts. That's how we do it. We've never had a problem with bacteria or anything like that, so it's pretty cool. Can we have hot tea on a raw vegan diet? And if yes, can I have coconut powder creamer with it? Well, the powder creamer is not raw. Tea is not normally raw, especially if you're using boiling water, but those are nitty-gritty things. I wouldn't use the coconut creamer because it's high fat, but I have done tea in the past. I cold brew my tea. I'll just put the tea bag in room temperature water, and I let it sit for a couple hours, and I've got like cold tea, really, and that's what I drink if I do tea. I have occasionally had warm tea. If I go out for coffee with a friend or something, I'll order a tea, but it's very, very rare. And you can really have whatever you want. I get a lot of people asking, can I have this, or can I have that, or can I have this? And you can have anything you want. It really depends on where you want to go. If you want to eat all raw, then tea technically isn't raw because you're using boiling water. But if it's not a big concern for you, then do it. And you don't want to be like strict and rigid. And I choose raw because I love raw. I don't choose it because I have to. I choose it because I want to. So if you want to drink tea, then go for it. No big deal. Are you buying all the books? Yay! Hope you enjoy. Remember, 40% off. Code Immunity2020. 14 dates that you had soaking. I hope they're okay. Give them a smell. Maybe taste the water. See if it's okay. I don't want to say yes or no because I don't want to be the reason why you might get sick, but check it out. See if there's any like molds or funguses growing in there. Fridge is very different than the counter. Yes. It depends on how warm your house is too. If there was things growing in there, I don't know. Is there a raw awafaba alternative? I'm not sure what that is. Which is the blended residue of chickpeas. The liquid from the chickpea can, which makes like a whipping cream kind of thing. I don't know if there is a raw alternative to that. I mean, again, it's vegan, so it's not like it's bad. But I've never used that. I've never experimented with that. I feel like canned chickpeas, because they're processed, I mean, they are a processed food because they're heated to can, and they're pasteurized and all that to sustain shelf life, and they're also cooked, so it's a cooked food. And also, when you have the actual bean, it's got all of these enzyme inhibitors on it which prevent the body from digesting them properly, and those are in the can. Like when before I was vegan, if I ever did chickpeas from a can, I would always rinse off all of that water because it was like bubbly and frothy, and that caused a lot of gas. So if I rinsed that off and I ate the chickpeas, I still got gas, but not as much as if I was drinking that water part. So I personally, it's not part of my life. Again, it's vegan. So can we sprout in the fridge as room temperature is high and no one's home during the day? That's a great question. I don't think they're going to sprout as well in the fridge. You could put them in a cupboard, but then there's no light. So that's a thing too. If you had, not everyone has AC, But if you had maybe a fan or something that could go to kind of cool the area so it wasn't super hot, that might work. But if no one's home during the day, as long as you rinse it in the morning before you leave, and then as soon as you get home, and then before bed. That's really all, that's what we do. If we're out all day. Like, for example, tomorrow I'm going to the farm and we have sprouts going. We'll rinse them before we leave, and then we'll rinse them when we get back. Not a big deal. Rinse them before we go to bed as well. I've never used them trying to rawify. Yeah. You could try flax. If you're looking for an egg white replacement, try soaked flax seeds. Grind up some flax seeds and soak them in a tablespoon of water for about 20 minutes. That might create kind of a jelly-like egg replacement. A lot of people have used that, so that could be an option. And nasty canned stuff. Yeah, it's but love that you say about new traditions not needing to imitate the old. Yeah, we just need to move forward, and I think I'll end on this, you guys. I had such a great time with you, chatting and answering your questions. Thank you for joining me. I appreciate you so much. And as for the traditions, we got to move forward. We can't always rely on the old traditions. Yes, they were fun. They were great. We had a good time, but let's make new traditions. Let's have new foods that we eat at holidays. Let's have new things that we do with our friends and family and create new memories around new ideas. Because if you do something twice in a row, it's technically a tradition. So you can do it every year. And for example, for the holidays, we do a lot of raw things that we save only for the holidays. Like my mushroom meatloaf, we only make at the holidays. I only eat it once or twice a year. And it's a very special meal that I reserve for that because it just feels special. Even though it's raw and it's fine and I can eat it anytime I want. But I've discovered that oh, my bangs are all weird. I've discovered that creating these meals and having them on the special days has made it so much easier to look forward to those days. And I would take salads to my grandma's reunions and I would just eat raw food there. And it's a new tradition. It's a new lifestyle. It's moving forward. And it doesn't mean that we are shameful or regretful or guilty for our past, for enjoying what we did in the past. It's about moving forward, and we can look to the past and be grateful for the past. And yeah, so it's really cool to make new traditions. It's fun. So you guys, thank you so much for joining me. I'm going to be live in an hour and a half. But not here. I'm going to be live in the Course Creator Academy talking all about social media, doing reviews and helping others with growing their social media. If you want more information about the Course Creator Academy that I run with Ted Carr, you can find out more information on that at veganwebinar.com. You can also find a link to the Course Creator Academy in my bio. And closing note, the 40% off all my ebooks code is Immunity2020. payhip.com/rawfoodromance or link in the bio. And oh yeah, I can't forget this really cool. On Sunday, July 19th, that's next weekend or this coming weekend, I am doing a live cooking class with Doug Graham. It's called Let's Cook Raw. And I'm going to be making raw sushi, cauliflower sushi. I'm going to be teaching an awesome technique on how to make the sushi rice like stick per se, so that your sushi doesn't fall apart as easily. So I'm going to be teaching that on Sunday at noon Eastern, which would be 9 a.m. Pacific time with Doug Graham. If you want to sign up for that, it's letscookraw.com. Go sign up because I want to see you there. And otherwise, thank you again for enjoying this little live that we did together. We're gonna come live again, maybe later this week. But thank you guys so much. It was fun to chat with you. And as always, fruit on.